park. About 9 o'clock. Shallow water, of course. It's shallow up in here. Got my war room on the radio. I'm going to go out there. The wind's at 15 miles an hour, which is too windy. But the local forecast said it was no wind. So that's a pretty big difference. I feel some wind, but not a lot. Let's go out to the ocean and see.
weapons and my construction. I'm getting a feel of 2003.
I'm looking forward to do this for us. I believe we have started doing economic warfare. Donald Trump
put back in place sanctions on Iran that were very successful in his first term, and then Biden, as part of his campaign to prop up the Iranians, took them all off. So that's been underway now for 5 months or so. I know you've been proposing, and I'm okay with it, but I don't think we should kid ourselves that if you start intercepting ships moving Iranian oil out in violation of those sanctions, you're not going to wind up finding some Chinese ships taking that oil out, and then what are you going to do? I'm talking about doing something that I think is very urgent, because those air defenses that the Israelis took down, one of the great master strokes that they did, are being rebuilt. And those missiles that they took out are being replaced. And there is going to be a nuclear weapon. I don't know. I've been told for several years that it's a couple of weeks away. At some point, it's happening. And I think we may be at that point. I'd rather see us, with the Israelis leading the fight, taking down, as I say, the people who prop up this regime. And remember, a famous example, Nicholas Ceausescu, the president for life of Romania, went from being that to being dead. When the history goes to frame it. It's too good to bring it back. You stick around. Frank Gaston's going full back to strange level. I'm kidding. I wanted to get this out for a while because this is, let's say this, there's not a lot of support for this option. But the people that support it hard. And the people that support it are some of the best people that have Home title lock, the $1 million triple lock protection. Don't let anybody get their hands on a piece of paper that is your title. Or you anything with selling a house, take a house, refinance a house, and you are stuck. HometitleLock.com. Someone goes, so check it out today. 24 protection, zero the money to save happy, $1 million restoration project. Short for back and long. You've heard me talk about Patriot Mobile for a while now, and you probably know that for years they stood in the gap for every American who believes in faith, family, and freedom. And here's the question: have you switched to Patriot Mobile yet? You'll get exceptional nationwide coverage because, unlike most cell phone service providers, Patriot Mobile utilizes all 3 major U.S. networks. Switch today without sacrificing quality or service. They even add 2 numbers on 2 networks on one phone. Let me repeat, they can even add 2 numbers on 2 networks on one phone. It's like you're sharing 2 phones in one. They have unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, internet on-the-go devices, and internet backup.
This is pretty rough.
Keep your number, keep your phone.
I'm just wondering if it's the channel. If it's smoothed down here, or no. We're just going to creep out here and see what's going on. I see lots of waves out there, so it's not looking good. I think the 15 mile per hour wind was correct. For a discount on your order. That's JaceMedical.com, promo code Bannon. Get the Jace case and do it today. I think there's some fish down here.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Wow, what a lineup to finish the show. We got EJ on debt, deficits, taxes, everything. Gaffney's back in the bullpen, still limbering up. Going full Dr. Strangelove on me this afternoon.
Whoa.
We got D. Terry Schilling, who actually is one of the guys saving Western civilization. So who am I to question that? EJ and Tony, I don't even know where to start when it's also used to put a tweet out, $101 billion in April, in interest only.
You've got, oh, by the way, another great article in Town Hall that says everything you said about the lying Biden administration, Biden regime, about the jobs, all a lie. You were 100% correct. Then I dropped one on you a second ago. As we called it, bro, the debt ceiling, $4 trillion, and it takes us all the way to like a week after the midterm election. I don't know where you, and you told me even the best part of the tax cuts we got are not permanent to supply side.
It's too rough.
I don't know where you want to start, EJ, but the floor is yours.
Oh, Steve, thanks so much for having me. All great topics, all really important that the audience have to know about. Let's take that last one first. What we're seeing right now with this latest tax package out of the House, it's a real mixed bag. There are some good provisions in it, but there's some bad stuff too. And what's really annoying here, Steve, is and I just can't for the life of me figure out what is going on with the GOP, especially Mike Johnson, why they're doing this the way they are. The best provisions, I would say, are things that aren't even being made permanent. So, again, it's not all terrible. I don't mean to, make folks think like, hey, the sky is falling here if they get this bill through. But I just don't understand why some of these bad provisions are in here. The bill could be so much better than it is. So there's good and bad here. We want to see things like full expensing and R&D. We want to see those different business deductions that are going to help create jobs, and we want to see them made permanent. We don't want to just see them for another year or two. That doesn't let business plan. That doesn't let business do a lot of investing right now and hire a lot of folks, create jobs, and grow the economy. Those are the things that we want. That's how you get more income. That's how you get productivity growth. I'm very happy to see that we don't have these additional millionaire taxes in there, all these crazy ideas that have been thrown around where we're actually going to increase taxes. I mean, please, that's a surefire way to slow down growth.
Crazy ideas like they're in the war room, but they pretty long. Brother,
Steve, I am totally fine. I am totally fine with the wealthy paying more. It just depends on how you're going to do it. In other words, do stuff like get rid of SALT. Get rid of the state and local tax deduction. Don't increase marginal tax rates, because the problem here, Steve, is not that we don't want certain people to pay more or less in taxes. It's that raising marginal tax rates are not the best way to do it. In fact, if we look at the last 100 years, the history of the income tax, what we find is without fail, every time we increase that top marginal tax rate, the overall percentage of taxes paid by the top 1% doesn't go up, it goes down, because it provides people a huge incentive to shelter their income. So get rid of things like the deduction on municipal bonds. We don't have time to debate this part of it today, but I'll get you back on. We'll give you just like I give you the snapback. I'm even off my 40% for the mayor. It's just a snapback for the top bracket, and here's why. You want to get those business. You want to get the supply. The math doesn't work, brother. Tell me about the debt ceiling. Right now, we haven't cut anything, dude. We're gonna have a 2 or 2.5 trillion. Correct me if I'm wrong, EJ. This fiscal year, we're gonna have a $2 to $2.5 trillion deficit, and right now, we're not going from the 6.5, even the glide slope to the 3.5. We're asking for $4 trillion in 18 months. That means we're in November of 18 months from now, we're at $40 trillion. And what happens to your monthly? The only way to make the math work is somebody's got to throw something into the keg, and that's going to be the snapback of the upper bracket. You've heard it here first, months ago. It's going to happen. It has to happen. It's the only way to. I've got all kind of other ideas on financial taxes. A little kick into the pot is carried interest. I know that's a bone of contention to the wealthiest body. Do you see any way from the cuts that you've seen or what they're proposing with taxes, you've seen even some of the great supply chain stuff that you get
Yeah, it's too rough. We're gonna do some inshore fishing.
They've got to cut spending more. Absolutely. They've cut nowhere near enough, and this is just basically another band-aid. And this debt ceiling increase, they're just going to bump up against it relatively soon. It's not going to last long enough. Again, because they haven't cut enough spending. We don't have a revenue problem. We're taking in a tremendous amount of revenue by most measures at a record high. Our problem is the spending. In fact, right now, even
So the cumulative deficit, in other words, for the current fiscal year, which will be from October through April, that deficit that was accumulated so far is larger than the same time from the previous fiscal year, except the revenue has gone up. So it's not a matter of us having a revenue problem. We have a spending problem. We have to get the spending down. You have to start, again, cutting the spending, and eventually the deficit takes care of itself. But unless you're gonna do that, all of these debt ceiling increases, I'm sorry, you're actually making the problem worse, not better. I know that but once you don't know about this, what is your analysis of unfortunately, we always think these numbers create because we're so backward looking. But the latest data that we have, and they're not my numbers, this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, part of the Labor Department. They are now admitted that with the best data we have available, in the second and third quarter of last year, so this is right before
There's Hooters and Bubba Gump Shrimp Company. Got a couple of fishermen there.
It was not adding hundreds of thousands of jobs. It was actually losing jobs on net. So yes, there were some jobs released, but they were more than offset by all of the job losses. And that's especially true when you look at the private sector. So maybe the government was growing, but not enough to make up for the private sector losses. This, I think, is a big reason why President Trump won such an overwhelming victory in November. He won not just the popular vote, not just the electoral vote, but the popular vote as well. And he managed to pull in every single swing state. Why? Because people looked at all these different news reports, all the media that told them how great the economy was, and most of them didn't believe it because their own personal finances, their lived experiences, to say, was pretty darn terrible. It genuinely was. They weren't able to find jobs because we weren't adding hundreds of thousands of jobs a month like the Biden administration claimed. And these downward revisions...
You could rent jet skis there and a boat, shark boat.
Very great to have me on to talk about, as you said, for several years now. And unfortunately, the pattern continues. And we probably are not going to definitively know. We're not going to get the final estimate until next year, until January or February, in terms of just what the actual labor market performance genuinely looked like under the Biden administration. In other words, it's going to be out of office a year before we can finally say, all right, this is what the economy was actually doing. And here's how many jobs we were losing, not adding, before he left office. What is the best place to find me? The handle there is @RealEStateManCenter. of control. All Red Sea, North Arabian Sea, Persian Gulf, all of it, brother. It's a tinderbox ready to go up. President Trump is pretty adamant he doesn't believe in a military solution here. At least on the surface of what we're seeing in every pronouncement he makes, every true social he makes. Why is President Trump wrong, at least at this time, in his outlook, and Frank Gaffney and the Gaffneyites right, sir?
Well, I'm not sure we're saying different things, Steve. I'm not talking about war in the way I think he's thinking about it. The kind of war that he has rightly railed against elsewhere in the world. Large numbers of heavy armored divisions and other kinds of kit that is thrown at some hopeless situation that doesn't lend itself to that kind of warfare. He's, I think, clear about making sure we protect our vital interests. And I believe that one of them is something that he has endlessly pledged to do, which is to keep Iran from getting nuclear weapons, because that is an intolerable situation. It's the world's leading terror organization. It's got not only these terror proxies that have been raining death and destruction on Israel, but also they're all over the place. They're including in our own country. Talk to Sam Faddis, our mutual friend, about could they have a nuclear weapon smuggled inside our country, ready to go? You bet they could.
Okay.
So, Steve, we're on borrowed time, is my point. You kind of laughingly called me Strangelove. Far from it. I'm not talking about using nuclear weapons, which is what Dr. Strangelove was doing. I'm not even talking about using our own forces. I'm talking about allowing our friends and allies to defend themselves and us in the process. And if you want to think about somebody who's got a Strangelovian view of the world, let me introduce you to the Ayatollah Khamenei, who thinks that the Mahdi, the Messiah figure of his sect of Islam, is going to come out of a well because of the outpouring of lamentations and pleading for his intercession that sounds an awful lot like the apocalypse. And this guy thinks that's going to happen on his watch.
This is a kickoff conversation of many we have to have. Where do people go right now? Send them to the best site of all the groups you work with to get up to speed on this. There are heads blowing up here. You've got a hill to climb, but if anybody can do it, we're going to have more people on to make this case, and we'll present options back. And we want to make sure the process is fully informed. Where do we go to the best set of facts that you can show Frank Gaff?
Well, let me just say first, Steve, thank you for giving an opportunity for some of those facts to be presented. I think it's overdue. They can find some of the best arguments that we presented over the weekend at victoryco.org. That's short for victorycoalition.org. It's one of the projects of our Institute for the American Future. That's usfuture.org. You'll see all kinds of other things that we do, including our favorite, the Committee on the Present Danger China, presentdangerchina.org. And by the way, Steve, you outlined the fires that are being inflamed all over the world. You called it a tinderbox. We have discussed for some time now Xi Jinping's strategic arson, which I believe is why we're in this fix right now with the war against Israel, the war in Ukraine, and elsewhere.
Just let me have a naval offer. Let me go John Paul Jones and naval blockade, no oil, and see what they do. Frank, thank you so much, brother. Love you. And we're going to continue this back at you. We're going to get more of this. We got to get it all on the table. And I'm going to have the con guys here. Also, we're going to get people of the Kurt Noses of the world that are not fans of this line of thought. Let's say this. Terry, thank you for hanging. I wanted to get you on this morning too, Jam. Just quickly. Axios, which is the Washington consensus. Morning Joe with, the New York Times and Axios. Axios boils it down to what they call smart brevity. Why does Mike Allen and Jim Vanderhaven, two of the smartest guys in town, why do they highlight Terry Schilling in the fight? They say MAGA's fight to save Western civilization. And they highlight a couple others. What is this about? Is it real? Is it meaningful? Are we making progress? Or is the left trying to divert our attention?
Well, thanks so much, Steve. Listen, their article was about how the right wing, MAGA, is offering a call to save Western civilization. We see Western civilization collapsing all over the world. And there are two real threats to Western civ. There are those that say there are no rules, and that would be, the blue hairs, the the transgender industry, the people that say that, you know, there are no rules, you can change your gender, you can, you know, transition children, nothing matters at all. But then the other threats are against what the rules are. And that is more coming from ideologies like Islam, right? And you see the UK, where they've created a two-tier justice system where Muslim ideologues can run around murdering and raping and sexually assaulting people, but then the people that notice these things are happening, that call it out and criticize these sexual assaults by those that believe in the ideology of Islam, those are the people that get put in jail. The people outside of abortion clinics that are praying silently in their own heads, those are the people that get put into jail. And so, you know, I think he kind of caught me off guard because he asked me what Western civilization was, and I haven't really asked that before. But if I was to summarize it, I would say three things about it. One, Western civilization is the belief that there are rules, there's a natural order to things, and when you go outside of that natural order, bad things happen. And then two, there's a creator to that natural order, right? It's the laws of nature, and nature's God. That's what Western civilization has culminated into. But Steve, third, Western civilization was built by men with families to protect and provide for and feed. And that is essentially what I talked about. I do think these threats are real. And a lot of people asked me when they saw that article, they didn't understand before I was quoted why I was quoted, because we mostly work on culture war, and we mostly work on families and fatherhood. But that's what built Western civilization. And that's why they've been attacking the family. That's why they've been attacking masculinity, which true masculinity is ultimately becoming a father and providing and protecting. And that's why those things are in attack. It is a way to destroy everything that Western civilization has built. The beauty and the human rights that Western civilization has introduced to the world, those are really bad things for tyrants. Tyrants don't like human rights. They like to be able to use power without any limits, and that's what we're fighting for. So I do think we are making progress. I'm very excited, obviously, for President Trump. I think he's our best last hope, and if we can't continue to make progress under him, I don't know who the hell we're going to make progress under.
Terry, where do people go for your social media feed? Also your website, you guys, American Principles Project. Where do they go to get all this? And Grace and Mo are going to put the Axios story out. Terry Schilling and other MAGA leaders to fight to save Western civilization. Where do they go?
This is
Steve, I'm on all social media channels at Schilling1776. But Steve, listen, you got to come on my podcast. I'm on episode 7 now. And it's a weekly podcast. It's called The Terry Schilling Show. It's a very original title, but I got to have you on, sir, because my audience needs to see and hear from you. You're a genius. I got to get you on.
I'm in. You just tell me. You just talk to Cameron and let's book a time.
All right,
always
sounds
available
good.
for Terry Schilling. Always available to be a hoplite in the war to save Western civilization. Love you, brother. Keep fighting. Wow, what a show today. Still, this Texas thing. That's why Patriot Mobile, 972 Patriot, Glenn Sturry and the team down in Tarrant County, what they've done down there. I don't need to tell you what they've done to support your values. They are the tip of the spear. Now we need to make the switch. Best phone service ever, because it layers on top of all the